I think there was something from the first game, which was not settled. So I think that's what happened there. But to tell you the truth, in my opinion, David getting sent off was what won us that game, because
Shannon's out again.
What's he done?
Done the hamstring again.
Oh my gosh.
So we're just always in survival mode. Like the games that we're winning, they're the ones when we're full flight and everyone's there. And then when it comes to a big game, we're missing everyone again, and then we're rotating and we're rotating and we're rotating. So
they don't draw diagrams on the scorebook, as they say. So
I mean, you can look at the other results among the top four as well. I mean, we beat 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𝓢 beat 𝓕𝓘𝓝, and 𝓕𝓘𝓝 whacked us a couple of times. So it's really on the day for us.
We did think the season was going to be a bit different. We thought we were going to be up with those three teams a bit closer this year. Obviously, it hasn't gone that way. And look, we could go on and on about what's gone wrong this year and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're the ones on the pitch.
Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back to the Blacktown Premier League podcast. My name is 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𝓢, and please leave a like if you think relegation fights, top four fights, and championship fights all coming down to the final day is exciting. Because I think it's exciting, and I hope you share even a millimetre or a drop or a smidge of my enthusiasm. There is so much maths to get through, it's actually mind-boggling and slightly painful for this time of evening and at this time of the year when you should be shutting down and thinking about Christmas already. So, should we get straight into it instead of dilly-dallying and talk about Christmas? Yes, we should. Leave a like and cue the intro music.
Here come workers on! But it's fallen here towards Icon!
Oh my word.
I find her teammate in Izzy Grant! And now played and struck! And in! People, Ryan Dominici! And further forward now to Nira!
We're all ready to play, and yeah, we'll go out and smoke it this time.
There is so much stuff still to be decided this season, and this isn't even a PL2 episode. What could happen in that comp is more painful, actually. And for my brain, I'm struggling to comprehend just how many storylines and solutions. I need Thanos to come in, I'm not a nerd like that. I need Doctor Strange to come in and tell me how many storylines there are, because I think there's 7 per league. It is absolutely wonderful. So let's get into the results so that we can do some interviews and talk about some maths. 𝓕𝓘𝓝 are basically Women's Premier League champions now after securing a 1-0 win thanks to Rebecca Horgan. Who else? She's nearly got half a century of goals. Ponds versus Parkley was a washout. Not quite sure when that's being played again. Quakers Hill Juniors beat Quakers Hill Tigers 3-0 in a derby delight for them. Kellyville Colts won 8-0 over Norwest. No surprises there. Kellyville United went down 7-0 to fellow Hills rival Castle Hill United. And so what that basically means is that the table reads like this. 𝓕𝓘𝓝 are essentially insurmountable now. I think a point will basically secure them first place at this point. Marion are going to find it really hard to leapfrog Kellyville into third place. Either way, all these teams are most likely going to play against each other in the final series. It's going to be fantastic to watch. But it does seem like 𝓕𝓘𝓝 have taken out the first available trophy of the season. Let's go to PL2, which is not the focus of this episode, but it will be the focus going forward. Minchinbury Jets and Town Rangers on Sunday draw 0-0. No goals for either team, which I will tell you what that means for the table and promotion in just a sec. Parkley were winning 4-3 until the 96th minute when a 50-yard odd free kick went in and made it 4-4. A crazy game against Oakville. Power to them. Prospect United are the ones that had the bye, but you know that from the podcast just a fortnight ago. What that means for the table is Minchinbury Jets are now first place by a whole smacking 3 points, but Newbury have a game in hand on both Town Rangers and Minchinbury Jets, but the maximum they could get from that game in hand is being 1 point behind Minchinbury. It is crazy. Prospect have secured finals football now with Parkley's last-minute draw. Points dropped there, and that is how the top four will read in first grade. Now let's talk about today's focus. That is first grade, the results. Palonia beat Riverstone 2-0. All of that to be discussed in this episode, so I won't dwell on it for too long. Ponds beat Eastern Creek 3-1 in the match of the round, as you know. Juniors, the bye. And Marion won the championship. And while the club championship might be up for debate, the premiership in first grade is not. Marion spanking Doonside 5-0 in a game that, if anybody had predicted that scoreline before and put money on it, they probably would have made $6 trillion out of it. What a fantastic game it was. Kelvin Afori picked up a goal. Of course he did. Joshua Ross got 2 that day, and then Kelvin Afori picked up another one as well before Asim Tapa finished it off with a 5th. Doonside coming 3rd in a 2-horse race. For the table, this is the only league where first place isn't already decided, which some could argue, is not fun. But, sometimes relegation, top 4 races and promotion races can be more fun than a PL1 championship because at the end of the day, finals is more important. So Marion are insurmountably first place now. Ponds have leapfrogged Ďurňsaj. Ďurňsaj are now third. Workers are only 2 points ahead of Eastern Creek, but they have 2 games and an available 6 points to catch, to put... again, an insurmountable gap between themselves and Creek in 5th. Creek have only got 1 more game left this season, although it is Riverston. Right, we literally go into all the maths in this episode in the actual interviews. So I don't want to delay any further. These are some of the best interviews, some raw, on-the-bounce questions, some really well thought-out ones as well, using, again, maths and probabilities and stakes and all that sort of stuff. I think it's a really good episode. So please, if you do enjoy it, please remember to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers. We're low-key creeping up on 2,000 subscribers. If we get that, I'll be pretty happy. Let's get into it right now. Well, here we are in the middle of a Tigers versus Workers make-up game on a Wednesday night. I'm joined by 3 of the standout Palonia boys, 2 defenders and their captain and star midfielder Michael Cullen as well. 𝓕𝓘𝓝 and Aidan Cox here to join us. This is precarious for all the teams that are involved here. There's teams competing for finals. There are teams competing to stay away from the bottom of the table. We're going to do a bunch of maths, probably live, and talk about all the different scenarios and rack our brains and get some questions out of this because this run-in is going to be fantastic. Boys, thanks so much for joining me. Michael, as quick and as easy as you can put it, what is the ideal result this weekend before your match of the round and then in your match of the round?
Pretty much this weekend we're really needing 𝓕𝓘𝓝 to do the double just so we can have that
juniors,
relegation.
confirming 𝓕𝓘𝓝 juniors.
𝓕𝓘𝓝 juniors to get the double win just so we can have that relegation battle done and dusted. Obviously, if we can get the win in first grade, it's pretty much done and dusted as well. So we're hoping for that as well.
So the maths is obviously, it changes. No, it's not just to do with the tables, but to do with club championship. First grade is worth 3 times the amount of points. And to those who don't know what the gap is, it is currently 14 points. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's round and 1 point.
Okay, yeah. So obviously you guys only have 1 game left to play in first and reserve grade, which gives you a maximum of 9 plus 3, so 12 points to get, which means it's almost in your hands, but not quite. 1 point is not quite enough in reserve grade. It's very, very tedious at the moment. Just generally, how are you feeling about this? Is it a bit exciting, a bit nervous? What's the talk like around your home ground?
No, definitely plenty. We're waiting for these weeks just to end. Like, obviously the rain's killed us because we should have had a result on the weekend that could have made it a lot easier this weekend, but now, we're pretty much under the pump.
Let's start talking about some previous results. 𝓕𝓘𝓝, get you to grab that mic. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you.
I want to talk about this ridiculous 𝓕𝓘𝓝 Juniors game, speaking of them, by the way. So 2-1 in your favour, but that does not tell anywhere near the whole story. David Cullen gets sent off 15 minutes into the game. They then score a goal. Shannon Cullen comes back, I guess, recently returned from injury, scores 2, you guys win that game. Now, a bit of chat GPT searching to those watching along right now, and make sure you leave a like for this, by the way. The probability of you going down by a goal and down to 10 men and then winning a game from that position is less than 3%. So for you guys to do that, it goes against pretty much most mathematical possibility to come back and win that game. And it might have actually just saved your season from looking a little bit shady. So talk me through that game, the red card, going down, and what on earth was said at halftime that motivated you boys?
So I think we finally got some luck when it counted. We were short on luck through the season. I think there was a few results which could have gone our way, or at least could have grabbed the point. But regarding that 𝓕𝓘𝓝 game, it was intense. Obviously, we got, I think it's fair to say, pumped the first time we played them at their home ground. But we felt a bit hard done by, so I think we came in knowing that we could definitely get a result here. David, I guess, being one of the fiery, team members, I think there was something from the first game, which was not settled. So I think that's what happened there. But to tell you the truth, in my opinion, David getting sent off was what won us that game, because if it fired us up. But then obviously, I think it may have made 𝓕𝓘𝓝's juniors a bit overconfident. Now they were a little bit understaffed from that first game. The squad, looked a bit different. But yeah, we were definitely fired up and ready to play, even when we went down to 10. We always felt like we were in it from the start. Obviously, the goal that they scored was a penalty that I gave away, but what do you do? But yeah, like I said, we all felt that we were in that game.
What a story, and thank you for going into detail. That really puts it in perspective for me, and I'm sure the listeners will appreciate that. Now, unless Dribble's lying to me, Michael, and Aiden, I promise I'll get you on soon. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you in the cold. But Michael, just as you as the coach, captain, player, of course, only one sub apparently was made in that game. So Sammy came on for you. That was it. So you didn't make a tweak. You didn't bring on a defender. You didn't do anything like that. Unless Dribble's lying to me. So what does that speak about the resilience of the 11 that became 10 that you picked to start that game? And besides that late sub when you're already winning for for 20 odd minutes at that point, that was that starting 11 that became 10 that held it out.
Yeah, well, same thing. Like in that game, we knew from the start that we had it. Even with the goal down, we were like at half-time going, this is our game. Like, how are we losing? Even with 10. The only difference was we had to chase an extra man because David let us down. But other than that, we had the ball, we were attacking. We knew with 10, like even at half-time, the half-time talk, we were going, we're going to come back. We're going to win this one. We were playing 3 at the back. We're playing 2 up the front. We were going all that guns blazing. We knew our season was on the line, so we weren't backing down.
It is crazy to think even a draw that day probably wouldn't have been good enough. Like you're looking again at 14 points, only 12 you could possibly get between now and the end of the season. So again, you are relying on results elsewhere. It's crazy to think how much more you would have been relying on fate and other people had that not gone your way. Aiden, I'll bring you into the conversation now because I want to go back to something a bit earlier in the season. Tigers, you lose to them 1-0, weren't able to get a win over the sort of main relegation rivals throughout the year. It's a 5th minute, what I heard, a deflected cross from a left back. The game stays that way for them in the lead for the next 85 odd minutes, couldn't pull it back. What was the feeling around... Sorry, let's start with the momentum of the game and who played better. Did you guys improve after having drawn against them last time?
I feel like both teams were pretty even, to be honest. Like, it was a pretty unfortunate goal that came pretty early in the game. So once we switched back on, started to play our game again, I feel like we worked our way back into it and probably were the better team in the second half. But we just couldn't put that goal away.
What was the feeling like coming out of that game, if you can remember what it was like in the change rooms? Because for that to be a big 6-pointer in the relegation tie, if you'd have got a point out of that, again... The ripple effects of how different this weekend could have been are huge.
It was definitely pretty disappointing because we just came through a streak of all the top teams and we couldn't pinch any points off them. So obviously that was a 6-pointer for us. Would have been a lot worth winning, but we just couldn't get it done. So very disappointing.
Michael, let's talk about the match of the round, if we can cast our mind all the way back then. Rivo have been a handy team for you guys this year, with no disrespect, but you have beaten them twice now. But there was an 8-minute spell in which you guys just took that game away. And I think your goal in particular, I've made no mistake in hiding how impressive I thought that movement was. You were allowed to operate at your best. Talk to me about that sort of 8-minute stretch where you guys scored 3 goals and just crushed them.
I think that was just one of our days. Pretty much, I think we do that a fair bit where we do get the balls through, we get the chances. Even Rivo against this weekend, we probably could have scored 5, but it just wasn't our day. If you added up that day, it was 3 from 3 straight off the bat, 8 minutes, 3 goals with every single shot that we took. This weekend against Rivo, same thing. We'll go on 1-0 all the way to the end because we're just missing the ones that we should be getting. So hopefully we can do that again. We're having some good luck here on this field, so hopefully we can bring it in this weekend.
You are. Kuba, and let's talk about more of this Rivo game now. So 2-0 you win. Look, Rivo's season kind of descends into nothingness for them. They can't qualify for finals. Club championship means they can't get relegated either. So the momentum, well, not the momentum, I guess the motivation is very much in your court to win that game. You do. So talk to me about the feeling going into that one and how relieving it was to come out of it with all the points that you needed.
Yeah, so basically with that one, a bit of a funny story. I wanted to be the hero. I went against Mike's word. I said, look, let's play Rezzies. Get a result there, and then in first grade, and then the job's much easier going into the last round. So I played Rezzies, got injured and got a yellow card, so I didn't play first grade, and I missed out on Saturday. So a horrible result for myself, but the boys were ready. Even the reserves, on the warm up, the attitude was good. Everyone was pumped. Like you said, it's too close to I guess be messing around and taking it easy. We really need to grab I won't say what we need to grab, but basically we need to win every game. So the boys were definitely ready to put up a fight, and I guess Rivo being one one of two teams that we did beat, we went in confident, which also helped out as well.
Michael, Johnny scores pretty early that day, and forgive us, a penalty's just been given behind us. It's hard to keep our eyes off it while not getting hit by stray balls that comes to the left of the goal. But anyway, back to the point. Johnny scores the first goal. Your younger brother Riley scores one of his only goals of the season, if any. Very, very late on to sort of solidify that result. What does it mean in terms of your ability to integrate these younger ones into the first grade team, and how proud are you of them?
Yeah, very proud. Our 20s are definitely all ready to start pushing up now. I think next year will be the year. That's why we're trying to clinch this relegation, because we've got a lot of potential in our 20s that they're ready to come up, ready to give it a go. And that's why I think if we stay in this first division, we can definitely have a way better fight next year with the guys that we got. And obviously these young guys, they tend to run very well off us older boys. A bit wild when they're by themselves, but then when they join in with us, you see the talent start blossoming, because they're playing in a group of boys that can actually keep it level-headed and a bit calm. But then when you add a bit of aggression to it, it helps us from running a bit more.
As you mentioned, Yellow, for you, so you're going to be joining us in the commentary box, Kuba, on Saturday evening, which is a surprise announcement to all of you guys. That's who your co-commentator is going to be. Actually approached me about wanting to do it, which obviously means that you're going to be really, really good, because I know that you'll prepare and be keen for it. What can the audience expect from you in terms of what you bring on the mic?
So basically, I've already put it in the group chat, but basically Michael Cullen's biggest fan will meet Michael Cullen's biggest hater. So I'm going to expose his game, even though he's my teammate, but I'm looking forward to it.
Aidan, I get you to grab that mic. We'll lock back into the serious questions, but do get excited. And please, again, leave a like if you're excited for of the big Polish man to join up on our stream. Now, stick with me, because the maths is complicated and there's a lot of numbers here. But let's talk about draws this season, right? So 0-0 with Tigers. There's a 1-1 with Workers. There's an Eastern Creek stalemate 0-0. Okay, so stick with me. Tigers, by comparison, have lost 5 games this season by a 1-goal margin. There's some 4-3s, some 1-0s, some 2-1s, but again, the main point is 5 games they've lost by a 1-goal margin. Now, again, if that's what ends up splitting you this season, that's significant, because in those 3 draws that you've had, you've kept 2 clean sheets and kept the other team in Workers to, 1 goal. Let's just watch this penalty behind us. In it goes. Those 3 draws, they've only had 1 draw. And again, that 1-goal margin that I've been talking about, there have been games where you guys have rescued points that might come to save you this season. So if you can think back to that Workers 1-1, that Eastern Creek 0-0, or that Tigers draw like we spoke about on the last podcast, how significant are those moments? And did you know at the time that getting points out of those ones would be, yes, it's not a win, but much better than a loss?
Definitely. Every point in PL1 is crucial. But I'll definitely look back to the Eastern Creek game we had. Our keeper, Marcus, saved a penalty in it would have been 5 minutes to go, if that. So that was definitely a crucial one. But in all those games as well, I won't say it's a point gained. We definitely lost 2 in most of them. I think we just we don't have a striker that's put in 5+ goals. So if you look at where we've lacked this year, I think it's probably just a target man, where we've just been able to actually rely on to finish our chances.
Mm-hmm. Michael, let's actually just continue on with that. So, I'm thinking of Mohamed Nazari, who scored a match of the round goal off of your assist. Lockie Nixon had 25 goals within 3 minutes of the PL2 season last year. Just off the back of what Aidan said there, what's the reason for that, do you think?
I think definitely it's the juggling and changing. Lockie came in fresh off a honeymoon and wedding, so he never really kicked in the gear. Moe was a bit more established with the under-20s. They're a group squad, so not so much juggling and changing. Same thing, I think we've been famous Palonia, like you see every other year, where injuries come into play, the rotation's just crazy. Everyone's playing everywhere and everywhere. I was playing centre-back at the first few games, now I'm playing striker, then I was playing midfield. I think that's just how we go. We pretty much sit in survival mode for ages. Now Kuba out, Shannon's out again.
What's he done?
Done the hamstring again.
Oh my gosh.
So we're just always in survival mode. The games that we're winning, they're the ones when we're full flight and everyone's there. And then when it comes to a big game, we're missing everyone again, and then we're rotating and we're rotating and we're rotating. So I think that's our biggest issue. But definitely it's that build-up play. We either got a striker that wants to go through all the time, or we got a striker that wants to come short all the time. And that mix-up is very, very hard. So like I said, that fully established striker, we probably don't even have. So
you got your you got your own 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𝓢 and 𝓎𝑘𝓼𝓃𝓐 problem, but just on a very bigger level than Liverpool in the Premier League. I just want to talk about those that draw statement that I made before, just about turning losses and turning those into points. That Eastern Creek game sounds absolutely fantastic. Is that one that you might have been sick for, or were you playing in that one?
No, I was definitely playing. I was in the midfield. That was one of those games like what I talked about before. We could have easily walked away with the 3 points. The penalty was obviously at the end, but we were on full throttle attack for the last 15 minutes of that game. Eastern Creek probably vouched for that one, but we just weren't putting them away. That's our biggest problem. I think every year we tend to have one of the lowest fours in terms of goals. Like our for and against looks horrible, but it's more because we don't score that many goals, and when we lose 3-0, it makes a massive impact on our for and against because we don't have that solidified striker. We probably all get two goals each, but we don't have like one of these standout strikers like the other teams where they're probably getting 10 plus.
Kuba, again, proudly Polish. This is your club, really. I mean, in terms of somebody who breathes the club that they play for, there's not many better examples than you. This is a huge club in Sydney, in New South Wales. I've seen the Victorian equivalent as well. It's ginormous down there too. Polish people care about their football. So, what does it mean for you, for your folks, your family, to keep this team in this division?
Obviously, I went and played for Pons a couple of years and made my way back here. It's extremely important, and also we want to stay up, obviously, to attract, bigger and better players. That's why, obviously, a strong finish to the season with 3 wins would be awesome because, obviously, it looks good going into next season. But it's extremely important to stay up for sure. It's where Palonia should be.
Just want to talk about next season, actually. Have you started preparing for that? Because again, the injury things is a problem. Now you're looking for a striker as well, which, you're not the only person in the world doing that. Have you started having those conversations with maybe those 21s about, you need to be a first grade player next year? I can't just have you sitting here and taking it easy against easier opponents. Yeah,
definitely. I think now, because we're just waiting for this result to stay up, it's making it hard, but we've definitely had the talk with everyone. Like you would see as well, most of the teams that come up and transition from Div 1 to Div 2 do struggle. I think this year wasn't too bad for us in terms of what we had to go through. Like we lost the full Resi squad coming up, especially because the quality wasn't there and they just divided. So we started a full new Resi team. 20s have always been there, but they're still attached to winning this comp. Once they win that comp, they're going to step up and make it a lot more diverse for us to swap and change and do stuff like that. But definitely same thing. I think once people know Palonia is a little bit more solidified in the first division, if we can get a win this weekend and push us up to 6th, it makes it look like a lot better. We're not a team that's last or second last. We're a team that's just outside the semis, and with a little bit of help, we can push into the top 4. Because, like I said, I think next year if we could keep everyone that we've got and then add an established striker and maybe another winger, I think we fight for top 4 very easily.
There's the plans. And look, as I'm about to discuss with workers in an interview as well, they're closer to Tigers than they are to the team above them. So this 4th to last place, 9th, is very, very tight. And if you guys win, and the season ends that way, I mean, you look a lot closer to top 4 than you did, a month to, when we last spoke ago. Aiden, look, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Yes, a win in first grade in the match of the round will do wonderful things for you guys. Take the stress off. You can come here and banter for the next 6 months. But Workers last time was a 1-1 draw at their home ground. Again, I thought Michael was bloody excellent that day, and I basically made a whole podcast segment about it after that. She doesn't show my biases at all. But look, Workers are a good team. They're fighting for top 4. They really need a result out of this one, and because of the rescheduled matches, it now means that this one technically means more than the game they had washed out on the weekend when they could have secured it. So you're actually playing a Workers team by the unluckiness of the draw that should have been a dead rubber at this point, and it's now not. That's not in your favour. So is that frustrating? What's the sort of reaction to that?
It's a little frustrating, but at the end of the day, we're here to win our matches. So if we win, it's in our hands. So keep it at that.
What's your expectation heading into this one?
Just fight to the end and hopefully we can get the win.
Okay, I'm looking for anyone here to give me a prediction for what's going to happen in Resis and then in first grade as well. I'd love someone to put their name on a scoreline, or at least everybody a win, loss or draw in each.
Resis will draw. They'll draw 1-1, and first grade Palonia will get the win. 2-0, Michael Cullen-Brace.
2-0 Michael
Oh, bloody hope
Cullen-Brace.
so, mate. Let me tell you.
I'll let you call those if he's running through for a second goal. But just seriously, I want to ask one more question, and just about potentially taking a risk. Is there any value, Michael, in taking a risk by flooding? Yes, this might ruin a match of the round, but if you put all of your best players in reserve grade, let's say, and then that basically means, let's say you guarantee a reserve grade win, that doesn't get you all the points you need, but it puts you a little bit closer, and it means that other teams have to do a little bit more to catch up. So is there any chance at all that we see you rotate in a kind of strange and weird way?
No, not really. I think we're just going to go all out first grade because, the 9 points will make us make it a lot more clear. The 3 points still doesn't put us in a good place where we can get to even the Quakers Hill if they lose both games. That's juniors. But the for and against thing might be in the play, and ours is pretty bad. But with Tigers, they got so much that they can still do with the workers, especially if workers make the semis and they decide to rest players or do whatever they're going to do. That could affect us massively. It's already 1-0 behind me, so it's not looking too good. There's 3 points there if they can hang on to it. So for us,
in 21s though, to be fair.
Oh, is that 21?
Yes.
Oh, my bad. Even better. I'm glad that happened then. I'm happy with that. But no, I think we're just going to go 9 points because, like I said, we're still trying to fight for that 6th spot, even though it's not amazing. But we're still trying to think ahead like we're going to get it, and we're going to be playing Div 1 again next year. And we want to show people that we got wins in us and we're going to come 6th place. And we want people to be attracted to come into Palonia because they'll see that we're going to be in the top 4 next year if we can hang on to this year.
You've heard it. This team sounds committed like they're going to be here next year. This team sounds like they're going to be in PL1 next year. It is kind of, sort of in their hands, but it's all wonderful and very fun if you're a neutral. So especially like me, I'm sure you're going to be enjoying it. To you Palonia boys, I hope you sleep well the night before the game, because I wouldn't be if I were you. And thanks very much for coming on here and being brave and being honest. I really do appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Mark.
I decided to put the Palonia interview first, not just because it is their home game this week, as the Resi's game between Tigers and Workers, which has huge connotations on exactly the interview that you've just watched, by the way, has just kicked off. So, I mean, we're not going to be here for the entire time, but if a goal goes in the next 10 minutes of filming, that'll be pretty interesting, won't it? Anyway, I'll try and stay focused because I have too much ADHD to be doing this at this time after 3 double shot lattes. This doesn't matter to you anyway. Let's get back into the main point, which is Palonia look really confident. And whether that's a brave confidence from sort of being in a position where all they can do in their last 2 remaining games in first and reserve grade is play well. And in some ways, only having the 2 games compared to everybody else having 4 games is calming in a way that it's in your hands, but it's not. Like, technically, it's not in their hands, but if they win in first grade, my God, does it make it almost impossible for them to slip it up. Crazy to think the Quakers Juniors are still in the relegation battle, by the way, but a Quakers Juniors derby to basically could mathematically settle it. Like you said, as Michael said in the first couple of seconds of that interview, Quakers Juniors get the double in first and reserve grade over Quakers Tigers this weekend. It is done, and Quakers Tigers will be in that relegation playoff place. And why would Quakers Juniors want to beat them? Well, it is a geographical derby, it is a local derby, and of course, they could relegate them themselves. Cinema. That is cinema. I'll see you there before the match of the round, by the way. Let's go straight into the Workers interview right now. This is it's not the kind of Workers that you saw earlier in the year, as you probably gauged from the sort of intro teasing 10-second snippets that I put in. This Workers team are in a strange place right now. And I want you to tell me in the comment section what you think about this interview. I'll give you my thoughts when you get out of it. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to leave a like. A change of schedule means that this match of the round is going to be more fun than ever. There is everything to play for at the top, the middle, and the bottom of the table. There's fun games happening behind us, and there's 2 good podcast interviews. I'm sure we've just completed the one with Palonia. Now we go straight into the one with Workers. Ahmed, you've got the mic because I want to ask you about golden boot contention. You're doing pretty well this season. You and 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𝓢 are on 1 each. You 2 years ago, him last year, and it's only within 2. So, how much of a focus is it for you in these last couple of rounds?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got one eye on it, of course. You know, being a striker, I think that's fair. But you know, the main goal is obviously the team securing finals and hopefully going deep. I believe we can, and yeah, that's the main target.
Just a quick throwback to only last week. the current reigning Golden Boot winner, Dodd, mentioned a couple of things on the mic. Did you happen to catch what he said, and what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was pretty funny. He's not wrong ultimately in what he said. I have scored a few penalties, but ultimately a goal's a goal. They don't draw diagrams on the scorebook, as they say. So, but yeah, I'm sure had it been roles reversed, or if it were roles reversed, I'd be saying similar stuff to him, and he'd be saying similar stuff to me. So, but yeah, it's a good competition, and yeah, it's always fun. Yeah,
absolutely it is, and. One of the reasons why you got your Golden Boot was a hat-trick against Pons all those years ago, which I will never forget because I use it all the time on commentary. Danny Mac, welcome back to the podcast. It's great to have you back on. Of course, player of really good pedigree. I will reveal to you, you're also in Player of the Year contention. So from Golden Boot to Player of the Year contention, that means that in a good team, you're standing out. I'm not going to tell you exactly where you stand, but what's your reaction to being in the running?
I don't know who's figured that, to be honest with you, but I appreciate the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know where that's come from. I've missed half the season, but yeah. Anyways,
you've got a lot of votes, got a lot of fans. Look, I will now give you the tougher questions. Look, Eastern Creek, 2-1. This match of the round wouldn't mean anything if you guys had just sort of beaten them when you last had your game. It kept them alive in the running. There's now 2 points between you guys. Who was the better team that day, and why did it not go in your favour?
Look, when it comes to the nitty gritty with them, they've seemed to get the upper hand on us over the last few years. So, on the day they set up with a game plan and executed it pretty well. Just early goals seemed to be our problem this year, conceding early goals, and they got a couple, and we fought back. We didn't play too bad second half, but yeah, it was just a bit too much for us to get back in the end.
Paul, you've been around for ages, but I feel like your role has really stepped up this year. So tell us, what was this Eastern Creek game plan that Danny Max just mentioned that was so effective, allegedly? And tell us a little bit about your role this year. What's your increased participation?
Well, my role this year is about assistant coach for resis in first grade. So
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a big step up for myself. Obviously, a lot to learn in a short amount of time, but I just thought I had to step up in a certain way to help these boys get some results. So it's nothing personal, but it's just what it is. Jason and I just work really well as a team, and that's how it is. But I think going into the Creek game, we just had a set game plan where we just unfortunately didn't execute as well as we thought. We didn't play bad. We just couldn't break them down when they started to lock up that defence. So yeah.
Just the week prior, Taylor, and I get you to come into the conversation. Welcome back to the podcast as well, my friend, and thank you for coming on potentially a little bit before running around on the pitch, which is crazy. Look, you beat Dside. You beat them 1-0. You have an undefeated season against them so far, which is not something we just want to gloss over, because you haven't beaten them since they got promoted back into the first division half a decade ago. So this is a big year for you and Dside as a fixture. So reports have come through that you outplayed them that day. So what went so right that day?
Oh, no, I think we just showed what we're capable of, but unfortunately we are consistently inconsistent. And that's just been the story of the last few years, to be honest. Naturally, we come into the year thinking we can cut it out with the top three, which is, obviously the case. You don't want to come in not thinking that you can do that, but we need to start doing our talking on the pitch. So we know we can get those results, and you can look at the other results among the top four as well. We beat 𝓕𝓘𝓝 beat Pons, and Pons whacked us a couple times. So it's really on the day for us. Our priority is to make the finals, and then we're looking at it as like a 3-week season. And if we can be the better team on the day for 3 weeks, we can lift the plaque or the trophy, whatever it is. But again, we need to show that out on the pitch. So,
by comparison between those two performances, between Eastern Creek losing and beating Dside in the space of 7 days, what's your opinion on how that's possible?
How that's possible is, I think it's obviously very contextual. Against Dside, we were there for the full 90 minutes from the start. We shut them out. We took our chance. and we did what we needed to do against them. Against Creek, slow start, conceding a couple of goals early, and then we're just chasing at the end of the game. They did what they needed to do in that game, and yeah.
Taylor, Marion comes around, and again, you're not the only team to suffer the case of the Marion Blues. This season they're scoring some very, very late, at times apparently, some jammy goals as well. Talk to me about how Mubi got free and hit his goal away. What happened to lose that one so late?
They scored 2 free kicks. First one was a deflection, couldn't do much. Second one, again, like he found the space and he put it in the back of the net. I can say they're scoring jammy goals, but at the end of the day, they've been doing it for 4 years. Not the jammy goals, but finding ways to win, and that's what good teams do. Unfortunately, we make it hard for ourselves. They obviously find a way, and as I said, that's what the good teams do, so can't knock them for that. Are they the team to beat? I don't know, because as I said, the final series is like a new season, so once the top 4's wrapped up, I mean, anyone can take it in my opinion, so we'll see what happens.
But again, like, it's so strange, like that result happens, but then my mind looks at the Tigers 4-0. Yes, I know you had some players away that day, but again, Pons come and do 14 goals against you guys this season, which it doesn't make any sense, because again, you guys beat Doonside beat Pons, and we go around in this weird merry-go-round circle, weird vicious cycle. So I'm not going to try and sort of dissect the intricacies of those games, because I think the scorelines sort of speak for themselves. But again, I sort of asked, like I said, Armin, how are we getting such high level and then such a low floor? Workers capable of just doing that?
I think it is a big mindset thing, unfortunately, for us. Sometimes we just get in our own heads, and when teams get a run of momentum, we just struggle to stop that flow. I think we sometimes get set in our ways. I mean, when we verse those top 3 teams, when we're on a roll, they know how to mitigate that. They'll put a ball into the car park, they'll put a ball into the other field, they'll foul us. We almost play the same way, whether we're up 3-0, down 3-0, it's tied. I think we just need a bit more adaptability. We've done a lot of talking about it, but actually putting it out on the field is the different story. But again, I think, and I don't know why it's like that and it shouldn't be, but when finals come around, I think the mindset shifts and we're a different team. So I'm not saying we're here and we're going to win the whole thing, but I also think other teams are wary of us, and if they're not, that's a benefit to us.
And to your credit, like, you've said a couple of times now on podcasts that you can only really back it up on the pitch, but for you, the big step is making finals, yes, but then going that one step further, which I want to talk about in a bit, but you can only prove that when finals comes around. So I understand that you keep saying that in podcasts, but to your credit, you haven't had the chance to prove it yet. Paulie, I want to go to you. You're sitting right now with 6 wins and 6 losses and a couple of draws thrown in there. That's even form. You guys are, you're capable of getting big results. You play really good football. Everybody knows that. You've got some really, really stellar players. But, you're facing 2 teams that are fighting against relegation. And that's serious for clubs because, again, you don't need to sort of think about this too much because I'm sure you have, but this is teams that are being coached by people that are putting in full-time hours like yourself. They're trying to recruit players, and being in PL2 is much harder to do that.
Yeah.
And so in terms of building projects, almost impossible if you have a relegation on your CV. So you're coming up against teams that are vying to avoid that. What's the guarantee? What's the belief in Workers that you actually get past these 2 teams and secure finals?
Honestly, I have all faith in the boys that we have here. I've known these boys for a long time, and I've played with them. This year I'm coaching, so to see on the sideline is a bit different than on the field, in my opinion. But then again, I know what these boys are capable of, and when they put ball to feet and go back to basics and play football, I think we can beat every team. And I think we've just been very unfortunate with some results, but that's just my opinion. I think we've been in most of the games, but unfortunate results come like that, but that's football. But saying that, going into these 2 last matches in the relegation battle thing, it's just more about we just can't afford to start slow, and if we start slow then we're going to have problems. So the thing we got to focus on is what we can do better and fix the mistakes that we've had throughout the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
And that's what's going to help us get these results.
Yeah, well, certainly that needs to happen because, you haven't beaten either of Tigers or Palonia this year. There was the 4-0 loss to Tigers, there was a 1-0 draw with Workers, and that wouldn't be enough obviously excluding goal difference, to guarantee finals if those results repeated themselves.
No.
Danny, I go to you. I'm a massive fan of this crop that's gone from... I think you guys played in the NPL world together, but you guys, like you, Lockie Precious, there's a couple of other boys that have gone through the NPL days. Then you went to Rivo. Rivo came here under Mick Hawthorne and Darren Graham. That's now under Jason and as we've discovered tonight as well, Paul is massively involved. And again, I do not want to come across as disrespectful, but finishing the finals and making it deep into finals and winning reserve grade comps is no small feat. That's an impressive thing. But is there any chance now that even after the signings that have come in this year and the coaching changes, that perhaps maybe in terms of league form, maybe the ceiling is just a little bit outside our top three, or just a little bit best of the rest? Is there a possibility we'll see better from you guys next year? Yeah, look,
at the start of the season, we all had a lot of optimism. Like, it was looking at the squad we had, and new coaches coming in, the fresh start. We did think the season was going to be a bit different. Like, we thought we were going to be up with those three teams a bit closer this year. Obviously, it hasn't gone that way. And look, we could go on and on about what's gone wrong this year and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're the ones on the pitch, and it comes down to us, and we're the ones, not performing. So, look, we know we can do it. We've shown in the years that we've been able to compete with these teams on our day, but then again, so has anyone else. So we need to, like you said, it needs to be a bit more consistent. Next year, again, probably new players coming in. Who knows we might, change one night a week again. It seemed to work a bit better for us, but I don't know. I feel like it's the same thing again. We talk about this every year about how we think we can do it, and then we end up in the same position, sitting 4th or 5th playing finals, and then we get to finals, and like I said, Creek can sit back and park the bus against us and get a result every time. So, look, I think we do need to improve on maybe the way we play against teams like that, and even against these bigger teams this year. How it's I don't know what you think. How I don't know. What's happened this year with the big teams? It's a blur. Some of the games. It was a bit tough to take, but look, it is what it is now. But now it's finals, and anything can happen.
Thank you for your brutal honesty. I really do appreciate it. That's what this podcast is all about. Look, I want to flip the script a little bit. Ahmed, actually, sorry, forgive me. I'm going to go to Taylor. You have a strange position where next week, again on Tuesday, you could be home and dry. You might not be, but you could be home and dry with a chance to relegate a team. It's a weird sort of, not predicament, it's a weird space to find yourself in. At the end of the day, there are guys here who are paying Rego, same as you. No one's getting paid extortionately more than anybody else. It's a fair playing ground, and you don't necessarily want people to suffer, but someone is going to suffer this season in terms of relegation. Plenty happening behind us. Anyway, so what kind of position did that put you in on a Tuesday? It's a make-up game, and again, it's going to be hugely competitive because of what Tigers will need to do in that one. Yeah. So what kind of mentality do you have looking ahead?
Yeah, well, I think for us, we're just focused on ourselves. So whether or not finals is wrapped up or not, coming up against Palonia on Saturday and then Tigers on Tuesday, both teams we haven't beaten yet this year. So first and foremost, that's going to be our priority. And taking care of that is automatically going to qualify us for finals. So whatever the byproduct of that is, whether that means the Tigers going down, Palonia go down, juniors go down, for us, that's not really our concern. I mean, we're there to start a trend of wins heading into finals, hopefully, because the last thing we want is to come off a bad performance heading into a game against, Pons or 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𝓢. So that's where we need to be. That's where our mindset needs to be, and I'm confident it will be. And then we turn out in finals, hopefully, fingers crossed, first game, and we're switched on. And as I said, we know we can beat them, but that's down to how we come out.
Just a quick word on sort of how they play, what you remember from the 1-1 draw. You scored in that one. Yeah. Came off late in the game. Yeah. They're a good team.
Yeah, they are. They play good football. They're quite solid. I mean, as Danny alluded to, a lot of early goals this year. I think I said in the huddle last week, we've conceded in the first 10 minutes at least 8 times this year, and that was one of them. They got an own goal off a cross, and yeah, we just struggled to break them down. We got one, probably thought we were going to run away with it, and we just didn't. They held strong. So, I mean, that's what our mentality is going into Saturday. We want to get that one back. We want to win. Go into Tuesday, do the same, and yeah, head into the finals on a bit of a roll.
Ahmed, since you made some maths analogies before, I'm going to get you to do the maths questions from here. There's an 8-point gap between yourselves and Palonia. There's a 10-point gap between you and last place Tigers. There's a 14-point gap between yourselves and the team above you. And that is a crazy thing when you think about it, considering that, most likely you'll play finals football. So, yes, that gap might exist, but if you get 6 points, that gap could look a whole lot smaller to third place, whoever that ends up being. And also, 2 wins heading into a final series that will be cutthroat for you guys might do some great things for your momentum. So, to turn a negative into a positive, how important is that for you?
Yeah, it's massive. Momentum is massive. You always want to go into, a knockout game or knockout competitions with good form and confidence and belief. We have the belief in the squad that we can topple anyone on our day, obviously. If we head into those fixtures with the wins behind us, it will only do better things for us.
Danny Mac, 𝓕𝓘𝓝 currently sit in third. They will be your opponents if the finals were to happen tomorrow, or let's say this weekend. You've got a great record against them this season. They've just come off the back of not just a title campaign ending loss, but a pretty shattering loss with a pretty good, first 11. Obviously, you don't get to play them this weekend, which might be the best time to do it, but you won't have to play Creek most likely as well. Well, you won't have to play Creek. It'll either be you make finals or you don't, and Creek will take that spot. So there is no Creek bug to fall over this year. And against 𝓕𝓘𝓝, you've got a good record this year. So do you want to play them in a finals game? And how much confidence do you take from the fact that you've played against them pretty well this year?
Look, we have to verse all of them if we want to go and win it. So it doesn't really matter what order we do it in. If we're going to go and win it, we've got to beat them all. So yeah, look, it's probably a good thing that we're not versing Creek again, because the last 2 years they've done us. But yeah, look, I think we just need to focus on getting there first, because it's not done yet. Same as Rezzies now, they need to get at least a point tonight to get it through. So we'll get that job done first, and then we'll focus on finals after that.
Paulie, I'll finish up before I go to the general. Anyone can answer a question. That's just about this schedule that you've got. Obviously, points that are crucial here tonight, points that are crucial on Saturdays, on Tuesdays next week. How are you finding managing this schedule? It's a chance to rotate players, to share players across squads. Is that a blessing or a curse?
It's a curse in a sense, because I'd rather have everyone playing the one night, everyone playing the one day. But it is what it is. Like, you just got to deal with the hand you're dealt, in a sense. Like, so it's good, because everyone's going to be fresh, and that's the same for Tigers. I guarantee they're going to come out strong. So, in a sense, we just got to come out and match what we have to do. Like, that's our game plan. We just have to come out strong and play our style. Sorry, I saw.
That's okay.
We just have to play our style. Like, it's just how it is. Like, we can't afford to fall into the traps of, like, starting slow and conceding early. That's our biggest downfall this year. So, if we come out strong, play football, we'll dominate. Like, it's just how we are. Like, we just unfortunately gone down a spiral where we just start really slow, and then we just have to chase the game back. So, other than that, like, that's really it. Like.
Okay, this is my open-ended question section. I'm looking for anybody to give a prediction as to when you will secure finals and what you think you might be able to do in the final series.
When we'll secure it?
Yeah, as in like this weekend or on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, if my maths is correct, I'd predict us to do it this weekend, because I believe we'll win. So yeah, this weekend.
Your maths is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Any stabs? I know it's very early, but at a finals, whether it's a preferential opponent or if it's how far you think you might be able to go. Anybody have any bold predictions?
One game at a time.
Yeah, pretty well said. I will can it there, boys. I know that there's some games to play, so I won't keep you too long. And I know you really all enjoying watching as a squad, but I really do appreciate your time. Thank you for your honesty, your well thought out and brave opinions, and I really do appreciate your time just generally. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would encourage you, if you're an avid Premier League fan, I would encourage you to go back and watch the last 5 minutes of that interview, maybe last 7 minutes, and just watch the body language. I don't want to say too much because this feels disrespectful while the boys aren't standing here to answer it for themselves, but just watch the body language, and I hope for the workers' sake that they can get some wins under their belt, not because I prefer them over any other team, but because you want to see people happy, and it feels like there's a bit of a misdirection or a bit of a sense of feeling lost going through Ladbrokes Sporting Complex at the moment, and it was tangible. I could sense that in the interview. But again, their record against Doonside is good. They have not been spanked by Marion this year, and obviously Marion have just spanked Doonside. It's a weird conundrum that they find themselves in. The real bogey team of them this year has been Ponds. So let's see how they react to that, and let's see what they do coming up in this match of the round. If they secure finals, I have no doubt that they will be able to springboard into finals in a really well-hearted manner, and I think they'll be able to give us a good show. So again, I'll remind you of the maths. In the match of the round, we might actually already have relegation playoff spot sorted because of the 4 p.m. games. Unlikely the Quakers Juniors get 2 wins over Tigers. It's just unlikely, per chance. Quakers have not been in the greatest form since they lost Ryan Marcher to that knee injury. That means that most likely you're going to get a scenario where one team will be vying to make the top 4 with a point that they could get from the win securing that top 4 spot, and the other team vying for a win that will secure their place in the division next year. If that isn't a match of the round to remember, or to one to be excited for, at least in the build-up, I don't want you here. So make sure you leave a like, get excited for what is going to be the best match of the round of the year so far in terms of jeopardy and what it could mean and the stakes and all that sort of stuff. Get excited for Kuba on the mic, by the way. He is so eloquent in the way he speaks. He'll be on every podcast from now until the end of time. And cue that outro music.
But it's fallen here towards Icon! Oh my word. And now played and struck and in! Further forward now to 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛�! Ryan 𝓕𝓘𝓝𝓐𝓛𢢢! Wants a second goal. Isabel Rep should have a second goal and finishes with ease.